Okay, going live just a few minutes early. Just want to make sure that the sound is working. So I'm waiting on Mara to text me to tell me if she can hear me because it wasn't working last time for some reason. I feel like I look like Elsa. I just got my hair highlighted and it's, you know how it's like always really bright when you first get it. If you get your hair highlighted, it's always really bright when you first get it highlighted. Sound, can you hear me? Yay, you can hear me. Good. Okay, cool. Yay. Okay, all right, I'm gonna get started. So please go ahead and drop any questions that you have in the chat. And okay, good, everybody can hear me. Please go ahead and drop any questions you have in the chat. I'm probably gonna cover everything anyway, but I just wanna know what questions you have first so I kind of know where to start because this is a pretty in-depth training and I'm going to try to keep it as short and simple as possible. So hey Mandy, Evelyn, and Cassie, Amara is on. So I'm going to get started with Instagram stories. So I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to get started with hashtags in stories. But like I said, go ahead and start asking any questions if you have it. Okay. All right. Can y'all see my screen here? Okay. So I'm going to use one of y'all as an example. Mandy, I happen to know what you do. Well, I know what all of you do, but Mandy, you are a, hi Amber, you're an interior designer. Well, you're aspiring DIY interior designer, just like amazing. Mandy shares great stuff if y'all don't follow her. So let's go ahead and talk about your hashtag strategy for Instagram stories. So let me start out by saying that, hey Lauren, that you used to be able to use up to 10 hashtags in your stories and you used to be able to hide them. And that's still advice that I see even 2 weeks ago, a really big name Instagram marketer person posted about hiding hashtags. And when I say hiding hashtags, what I mean is people would post a story and then like write their 10 hashtags super small and either make the color blend in with the background so you couldn't see them, or they would hide them behind a GIF. I know it's called a GIF, but I refuse to call it that because I think it's stupid. It reminds me of peanut butter. So they'd hide it behind that, or they would just whatever, like hide it. However, I watched another training by somebody who I totally admire and respect in the social media world, who said not to hide them and to only use 3. So just so y'all know, anything I teach you is something I have personally tried on my own account, which is AKA a real account, not like, that's why I have a hard time. I don't mean to get on my soapbox, but I have a hard time with like big name people giving out Instagram advice because their account, the way it's favored in the algorithm, just isn't going to be the same as the rest of us. So, so 2 things, any advice or any training I ever give is either something that I've actually personally tried and found to work, or I just go look. So let me show you what I mean by an example of that. So Mandy, let's just say home reno. I don't know, that just sounds like a good. Now I'm on the desktop, which I should say the hashtag experience on the desktop is a lot different than the app. But I normally will do like a screen mirror share. But the last time I tried to do that, the live streaming with the screen mirroring, I think was just like too much for my Wi-Fi and it was lagging and it was, so I can try it at the end if we have time, but okay. So you'll learn about how to choose hashtags in static posts, and I'm gonna, advise that you use ones that are like less than 500,000. So that's like this home reno right here only has 412,000. However, for stories, it's the opposite. You want to use bigger hashtags in your stories. So the first thing to do, and let me be honest, I don't always do this one step here just because I'm about to show you, just because sometimes I forget and I've already like halfway crafted my story. But one way to know if you're choosing a good hashtag for your stories is to just go see if that hashtag has a story. And to see if that hashtag has an active story, so we're going to go to home renovation. See, no story. If it had a story, this would have a red circle around it. So let's do home inspo. You see, it gives you some related hashtags right here. Okay, good. So home inspo has a story. So if Mandy was to go post a story right now, home inspo would likely be a better hashtag for her to use than the home renovation. Now, just because home renovation does not currently have an active story on their hashtag doesn't mean it won't. Doesn't mean like Mandy's story with home reno might end up getting picked up and creating a story in and of itself. So this isn't foolproof, but it's just like a good little test to see if it's a good hashtag to use. So I guarantee you, now I swear if this doesn't work, I'm going to look really stupid right now on camera. Okay, so I'm pulling up, I guarantee you the majority of, majority of stories you're going to see that actually get picked up in a stories hashtag have a visible hashtag, not hidden like we talked about. Like I said, even 2 weeks ago, a big name marketer was saying, hide your hashtags in your stories. For me, it has not worked, and this is what you need to do. So down here, home inspo is visible. Next post. Home inspo, visible. Visible. Same. Okay, so there is, that's the best way to choose hashtags for your stories. So then a question I got about that, I just did a post on this, was, does it matter whether or not you use the text? Let me see if I can mirror my screen without it like going bananas. Last time it was lagging too much. Like I said, I think it was too much for my internet bandwidth. I usually use a screen mirroring app if y'all are ever wondering how I do these little tutorials. Okay, here it comes. Okay, so a question I got was, does it matter if you use the text box to use your hashtags, or if you should use like the actual like sticker, the hashtag sticker within Instagram stories? And the answer is, I have not seen that it makes a difference which one you use. So hold on. 1 second, I'm getting this screen mirroring pulled up. Okay. Let me just see if this works, because I think it's easier to actually show you on the phone instead of, yeah, it's not going to work. It's too much. I think it's too much bandwidth for my computer. It's like getting angry at me. Is that the right word? Bandwidth. I don't know. So if you know what I'm talking about, when you go to the little smiley face square guide, and that's where all the like GIFs and location and hashtag and all that is. The question was, does it matter if you use that hashtag sticker or if you use the text box to choose your 3 hashtags for stories? And like I said, I haven't seen that it matters. Sometimes I'll try to incorporate the hashtag like into the actual caption itself. But yeah, no, I haven't seen that makes a difference at all. And you can only do 1 hashtag if you're going to be using like the little hashtag sticker. So hope that was helpful. All right, let me just bring back up my Instagram. Okay, so if you do use a hashtag in your stories, where do you show up? How do people find you? Well, the same place. So let's say I am, so I'm in Pensacola and Mardi Gras is going on. So let's say, I know you thought Mardi Gras was only in New Orleans. Daniel, photographer who's on, is it crazy down there right now? You're a photographer in New Orleans, is it crazy? So I'm going to click on Pensacola. Pensacola does have an active story right now. And so here you see like the Pensacola hashtag is visible, Pensacola hashtag visible, same. So that is where you show up if you use a hashtag in your stories. So I've had a lot of people say, hey, well, I don't go look at hashtag stories. Well, a lot of people do, because a lot of people are going to a hashtag to look for something, and then just like by default, they end up clicking on the story if that hashtag has a story. So I just posted the story I posted this morning actually about this hashtag training. I've been using the like marketing digital hashtag, and I've gotten picked up several different times on that one hashtag. And it's just crazy how many more viewers you get when you use a hashtag. So yeah, marketing digital. So let's see if we can find me. Oh, there's always people. There's always a lot of like non-English stuff, which is funny to me because marketing digital is a. Let's see, where am I? It says I got picked up in the story. So this is how you can kind of just like go check to see if you've gotten picked up or if it's working. You can scroll through the story of the hashtag that you used. No, I don't see me, but it says I got picked up. So it says I have 18 views from it. So yeah, weird. I don't know. Anyway, so that's how you can go see if your story actually got picked up by that hashtag. Now, one thing that's weird about hashtags in stories is people can't DM you directly from, so like say somebody sees your story through a hashtag, they can't DM you directly, which is different than like, you know, if you're going to watch someone's story, you can just DM them directly from their story. You can't do that if you're watching a story from the hashtag, which is kind of weird, but I don't know why. Okay, so I also want to talk about the difference, because this is another question I get commonly asked, the difference between using a geotag and using a hashtag in your stories. So again, I'm going to use Pensacola as an example. And if you are a local business, so let's type in Pensacola for, so here you'll see the Pensacola hashtag, and here you'll see the Pensacola geotag or location. It is not redundant to use a location and a hashtag that are the same. That's probably not the most advantageous strategy if you aren't a local business. So if you're someone that serves like, you know, online nationwide or whatever. But if you are a local business, and let's just say you are hosting an event somewhere, you could use the Pensacola location in the story, and then you could still use Pensacola hashtag. Then you could use like a Pensacola beach hashtag, or like even this Pensacola, Florida hashtag. So you could literally use all of these in your story, and that just multiplies the places that you're shown. Sorry. However, if you are not a local business, you could still use, let's say, the Pensacola location, and then add in 3 other hashtags that are more related to your actual business. So maybe it's like crocheting, or I don't know, natural skincare, or whatever it is. And that's going to, like I said, increase even more. And this is where you show up. So just like hashtags have a story, geotags or locations also have a story. So see, I just clicked on the, like I said, this looks different on the phone than it does obviously on the app, but I couldn't get it to mirror with the bandwidth or whatever. So when you click on the Pensacola location, so this is not a hashtag, this is a location, it also has a story. So let me tell you a cool little trick. I know this is not like specifically hashtag related, but let me show you a cool little trick that I learned. I used to think that it was better to use a bigger location. So like, I live in Gulf Breeze, so like a smaller town near Pensacola, okay? I used to think that, hey, it would be more advantageous to use a bigger location because people are more likely to go look at the Pensacola geotag than they are the Gulf Breeze geotag. Or let's say we're at like a small sushi restaurant that's really tiny and local to Gulf Breeze. Well, I don't want to tag that sushi restaurant because nobody's going to be going to that sushi restaurant's location and seeing what the story is. But that's not how it works. I was wrong. So if you go, and I discovered this a couple months ago, if you go to like a bigger geotag, so for example, if you go to like the New Orleans geotag, you'll see stories that have gotten picked up from smaller locations. So like maybe somebody tagged the French Quarter. Not only would it get picked up in the French Quarter geotag, but then it would also get picked up in New Orleans, which could also get picked up in Louisiana, and so forth and so on. So as you see on this story I'm showing you right here, it has Naval Air Technical Training Center as their geotag, and it got picked up in the Pensacola tag. Oh, I know him. That's really funny. Okay, so he did Pensacola. This person did an ice cream shop. So it's a local ice cream shop that got picked up in the bigger hashtag. So you see what I'm saying there, but that's just like a little cool little trick. Any questions before I move on to using hashtags in your feed posts? I'm pulling up the Facebook group now to see. Hey, Jen and Alicia and Heather. Okay, so I'll go ahead and move on to your feed. Now, I'm just going to tell you, don't get like, your expectations too high. Sometimes you'll pick a good hashtag for a story and it'll explode randomly. So I had a client one time who she was like a affiliate for these little gardening labels that said like, sage and thyme and whatever. And so I was like posting about those garden labels in her stories, and I used the hashtag gardening inspo, and it got 450 extra views from gardening inspo. So you never know. Yeah, you just never know. You never know what's going to get picked up. But general rule of thumb is you do want to use the bigger, like broader hashtags. Okay, so I'm pulled up on my social download account, which is I'm not very active on, but it should be launching here in a couple months. This is done for you Instagram content for chiropractors. But I'll just kind of show you when you are trying to find the best hashtags for your grid, your strategy is going to be a little different than it is for your stories. You want to stay, I've heard all different. I used to say under 1 million. Now I say under 500,000 is a good rule of thumb. I follow someone else who I really respect in my space who says stay under 200,000. I follow people who say you do 10 that are less than 200,000, 10 that are less than 500,000, and 10 that are less than whatever. I think that is way too much work if you want me to be totally honest. And I just kind of do trial and error for my own Instagram, and I'm just going to teach you what I have seen works the majority of the time. My disclaimer with that is my last post I did on Instagram, guess how many views I got from hashtags? The post before that, 524. So, and like I said, they were similar hashtag sets. So it doesn't just depend on the hashtags. Actually, I got one, the one I did, I'll show you this one right here. My highest hashtag post ever was this one. It was an old picture of my daughter. I got almost 6,000 views from hashtags on this post. And I only have like, 3,300 followers or something like that. I'll show you my hashtags. And like I said, they're nothing crazy. Like it's just like a little combo. Like it's not like these are like amazingly great hashtags. But the thing about hashtag strategy that I have not seen one other social media marketer talk about, so if you've tuned me out, this is a good time to come back in, is no matter how good your hashtags are, if your image isn't something that's like scroll stopping and your content isn't something valuable, it doesn't matter how good your hashtag game is. So it really is like this perfect synergy. And that's why this one, because I mean, you see that photo and like people are going to stop and look at that. And it was like literally, what did I post it like 2 days? Yeah, 2 days after Christmas. So it just resonated with a lot of people. So it's not exactly that this post, the hashtags were good. I researched them all. But had I just posted this on some generic quote template or whatever, it probably wouldn't have done near as well. So, like I said, I would love to pretend like, you've got this magic formula that works every time, but really it's just kind of having a combination of a good photo, good content. If you haven't watched my content writing training, it's in the Facebook group, and it talks about making sure you always use like a headline. So you want like a scroll stopping image, a scroll stopping headline. A lot of people don't write their captions with headlines. And then good hashtags, and then that's what's going to lead to like success. Another side note, I preach about not worrying about comments and likes. So this photo got 370 likes, but like I said, from hashtags alone, it had over 6,000 views. So it still eyeballs people who saw my stuff who wouldn't see it otherwise. So that's why I always preach about reach. Mandy says, the more I learn about hashtags, the funnier they are when people use them to continue the conversation. I know. I used to do that. I knew that's not how they worked, but just because I thought it was funny. Another side note on that, Mandy, is I think a lot of people don't realize that if you have a private account, so I had a discovery call with a new client last week, and she was like wondering why she wasn't gaining any traction. Her account was private. I'm like, you're trying to sell your stuff and your account's private. Like nobody's seeing. You have to have a public, I mean, most of you probably know that, but you have to have a business account or not a business account, but a public account for hashtags to actually work. Okay. So again, I just, like I say, go with trial and error. And like I said, sometimes your hashtags are going to do really well, and sometimes they're not going to. Even when you do follow the best practices, but all I can do is teach you best practices of what has been working for me. So whenever I have tried probably 4 or 5 different third-party hashtag apps. So let me know in the comments if you have any you've tried that you like. I have not found one that I liked. And when I say third-party apps, I've used there's one that Jenna Kutcher recommends, which I highly do not recommend. It's called like display purposes or for display purposes. It's terrible. Do not use it. It'll give you hashtags that are not even in your language and have like bajillions and millions of views. They also have a paid, Display Purposes also has a paid program. And I even paid for that for 1 month just to see if it would be helpful. It is not. I've used Iconosquare's hashtag like analytics system. I was very underwhelmed by that. Agorapulse apparently has one that's supposedly pretty good, but I haven't checked that one out. And then there's another one, I can't remember what it's called, that I tried like back in February of last year, so like a year ago. And all of those are supposed to help you track your individual hashtags and how well individual hashtags are working for you. But all I found that the data on all of them that I've tried was extremely skewed. And what I mean by that is I used to do Root and Rebel's account. And so we would put, she's an awesome blogger. A lot of you in my community know her. We share a lot of the same followers, but she had the Root and Rebel branded hashtag, and we would use that on every single one of her posts because that was her branded hashtag. Well, when I was paying like $35 a month for Iconosquare to help me track my hashtag, like how well they were working, the report goes, the hashtag with your highest reach is Root and Rebel. I'm like, well, duh, I use it on every single post. So like I said, I would not waste money on any of those like third-party analytics. The analytics you get within the app are good enough and you don't have to pay for them. If that changes, I promise I'll let you know. I do use Plann, Plann, planthat.com. That's what I use to schedule my posts because it's the only one. Later, Planoly, none of those have it on the free plan. On the free plan, you can actually type in a hashtag into Plann, and let me show you. It'll show you the saturation. And when I say saturation, all I mean is like how often that hashtag has been used. So my computer is like so not happy with me right now. If I'm trying to run too many things, it's like running in the background. Okay, so like I said, Plan has this free hashtag tool. And you can search, so like this is for chiropractors. So you can search, type in chiropractor, and it'll tell you, like they're color coded. You can't see this whole screen, can you? Here, let me make it bigger. So like chiropractor, chiropractors, pediatric chiropractor, whatever. And you can just like literally add them to your list this way. And you can save the sets that way. Oh, you can't see my screen anymore? Oh, that's weird. Okay, hang on. Stand by. There, sorry about that. Good thing I wasn't showing you anything before. Okay. Now, can you see the whole screen now? Okay. All right. So yeah, so this is why I like Plan, because Later has this feature as well, but you have to use it on their paid plan. But on planthat.com, they have this feature on your free plan. So I'll even use this, like if I'm researching hashtags for a client, even if they don't use Plan, I'll like go copy them from here and use them for a client. So you literally, like I said, can just like go and see all of the saturation like right there. The only thing that is not good about Plan's hashtag feature is it doesn't give you suggestions. So what I mean by suggestions is, if we go back here, what did I type in earlier? I think it was Mardi Gras, because I was doing some posts for some realtors down here. Okay, so I'm going to type in Mardi Gras. So whenever I'm researching hashtags, this is my process. Depending on how much time I have or whatever, I'll do a combination of researching on the app so I can get related hashtags that maybe I wouldn't have thought about even looking up their saturation, and Plan, because it'll show me the saturation easily. And that way I can just kind of like boop, 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 make a list, bam, it's ready to go. I can even copy that list off of Plan if I'm using it for someone else, like a client who doesn't use Plan, and save it to the notes on my phone. You can also do, this is a cool little shortcut. I don't know how to do it on an Android. I helped a client do it, but I can't remember. I had to look it up on the Google. But if you go to the settings, and I think it's like settings, general, keyboard shortcuts, I think, on your phone, you can even set up little keyboard shortcuts and save hashtag lists. So I have several clients who are local, and myself, like being local, and I have like a local hashtag set saved. So literally all I have to do is type in, what's my command? I think I just type in like LH, yeah. So if I just type in LH on my post, it's local hashtags, it goes and it spits out my whole hashtag list. So that's a cool little hack for saving hashtag lists. However, you do not, this is another question I get, you do not want to use the same hashtags over and over and over again. I research new hashtags almost every single post for myself and for my clients. Honestly, I do it less for myself just because, cobbler's child over here, but, ow, sorry, that was my knee. Some of the best feedback I got was from a new realtor client actually here, and they had literally, I just threw it in my trash. I'll just show you. I'll open my trash. Anyway, I'll just tell you. They had literally a brand new Instagram account, and they had like a reach of like 175 just from hashtags, which to you that might not sound like a lot, but that's 175 human beings who saw your post who didn't know about you yesterday just from hashtags alone. So I'm going to show you. I'll pull this up and show you my Google Drive. Okay, sorry, I got off track there. All right, so let me go back to, can everybody else hear me? Fine. Can everybody else hear me? Laura, let me know. Okay, you can still hear me. Okay, cool. All right, so where was I? Okay, so like I said, I use a combination of either like plan and suggested hashtags from within Instagram to plan out my tags. So what is super weird is this is the Instagram desktop right here. And sorry, let me do it this way. That's very distracting. I'm sorry. I'm new to Be Live, so I wasn't sure how it worked. That's way better, right? So what's weird is, you see how it gives you all these suggested hashtags? If I pull up Mardi Gras on the app, the Instagram app right now, it's going to give me a list of like totally different related hashtags, which is really funny. I find it to be easier on the app on the phone rather than the desktop, because let me show you why. Because sometimes you will type something in and it doesn't give you any suggestions. So like, I'm just going to type in marketing. It's probably not going to work now that I'm trying to show you. But well, this gives you suggestions. But sometimes you'll type in a post and it won't give you any suggestions. So let me go back to my Mardi Gras, just because this is something I was working on this morning for some clients. Amy's one of them. She's working on some Mardi Gras posts for them. So like some of these I never would have thought of, like Fat Tuesday, that's kind of obvious. A great tip, like I said, if you've tuned me out, come back to me now. Adding the year to a holiday is always going to be a better hashtag than the holiday itself. So you see how Mardi Gras itself has 2.3 million posts. Mardi Gras 2020, however, has 22,000 posts. So you're much more likely to be discovered. My general rule of thumb is to use 30 hashtags for every post and stay the majority under 500,000 uses. I don't get into the whole like fancy 10 in this category, 10 in that category, 10 in that category, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't have time for that shit. So I just, like I said, stay the majority under 500,000. There are a few I'll use that are a little higher. But like, here's another one, like Leslie Le Bon Temps Relais. Like I would have never thought to type all that out. I couldn't really even remember how to spell it. I mean, I took French in class in high school, but like that's an excellent hashtag for Mardi Gras, and I would have never thought to use that. So I don't know if you noticed, if you're in the Facebook group, and I gave the hashtag lists for like, I think it was like, I don't remember, something about New Year, but like New Year was like a terrible hashtag, but like New Year 2020 is going to be a much better hashtag, because typically those are, like I said, those are smaller. When you, the last stats I heard, when you use a hashtag that has over 1 million posts, they're recycled through like literally every, what was it? Every like 3 to 5 seconds. And so unless you're a Kardashian, it's kind of just like wasting a hashtag. So the next thing I want to talk about is where to put the hashtags. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Mandy. All right, so you can do, like I said, I told you again, so this hashtag set for me, I had used on a post, I think like 2 posts previous, and I had like over 300 views from those hashtags. And then this post, I got 3. So like I said, either people didn't like that picture of me or something. But I do follow another social media manager who I really like. And she said that for whatever reason last week, like hashtag reach like really dropped. And so this is another like good thing to know. Her theory is that Instagram is getting wise to people like copy and pasting the same tags over and over. Like if you have a list on your phone or a list in Plan or like a keyboard shortcut. But I just think that there's no way, like that just can't, I mean, so here's what I promise you. I will test it out. I don't think that's true, because I was just looking at a post before I hopped on here. I was doing some more research at other accounts, and I was looking, I have 5 accounts on my phone, all different people. And I was looking at some of my clients' accounts, and their hashtags were still doing great. So a post from yesterday for one of my clients had 275 views from hashtags, and she's a really small account. She has around 1,000 followers. So like I said, hashtags are still working fine. And that was just a copy paste from Planoly, which is another program I use. So if you're going to do your hashtags in the caption, that's no problem. Sometimes just to change it up, I'll try to work hashtags into the caption itself just to see if that increases the reach. It's just so hard to tell which hashtag is working exactly because when you go to your insights, you can't really, there's no way to know, oh, my insights show me that I got my views from this hashtag. Like, there's no way to know that. About a year ago, my photographer friend Katie had this really cool, so if y'all don't know this, Instagram will roll out features to people in waves. And so my photography friend Katie had the coolest insights where she could literally, on her post insights, see each individual hashtag she had used and see how many views she got from that specific hashtag, which is so cool. And then it went away, and then I haven't heard of anybody else having that feature. So I will say a lot of people who are not in my circle at all and like who have found me, I've asked them how they found me, and it's always been through a hashtag. So you can put your hashtags in the caption itself or in the first comment. It does not matter for algorithm purposes. However, really important tip here, if you forget to put your hashtags in the first comment within the first like 10 minutes, then just forget it. I wouldn't even do them because they're time-stamped with the post. So one time I accidentally did that for a client. This was about a year ago. I forgot to post the hashtag list in the first comment, and then I went back and did it like 30 or 45 minutes later, and the reach was like decimated. It was terrible. So if you are going to put them in the first comment, do it right away. The reason, if you do 5 vertical dots, it'll collapse it. It's hard to show y'all this, I'm sorry, on the desktop version. But if you ever go and you just see like, let me see if I can show it. No, it doesn't show them here, but it'll just show like 3 little dots. Let me see if that'll collapse it. Oh, no, I don't want to report myself. That's not good. So if you're like on the actual app itself and you'll see just like 3 little dots, that's how you get them to fold up. So when people are scrolling and looking at your post, 5 vertical dots will make that happen. Okay. The next thing I wanted to cover was hashtags in your bio. I see this done incorrectly all the time. And the other day, I think I finally figured out why. If you actually Google like how to use a hashtag in your Instagram bio, the Instagram website itself tells you you can use hashtags in your bio to tell your, followers what you're into. So like their example was like if you had like vegan and like animal hashtag vegan, hashtag animal lover, whatever. The only problem with that is that does not make you more searchable. If you followed me for any time, you know that the only 2 things that people can search when they go to the search bar are your username and this bold name line. They're the only 2 things that are searchable. So if I were to put hashtag Instagram marketer or whatever in here, it's not going to increase the likelihood of somebody finding my profile with that hashtag. Does that make sense? Now, if I use that hashtag in a post and they come find me and then they find my profile that way, yes, that works. The only time you want to have a hashtag in your bio is like, this is kind of like for me, because I do a lot of done for you content, which I'm kind of phasing out, but you can see I haven't used it in a while. I haven't put it on my client stuff in a while, but I used to always add my Molly Cahill hashtag to all my client posts. And so that way it was almost like my little, Cassie, I think you've got some posts on here that I did for you a while back. Anyway, so that way it's kind of like my little online gallery, if you know what I mean, of like, these are all posts I've done for clients in the past. So it's just like I said, it's just like instead of people going to your website, it's like, here's another great example. So Pure 7 Studios, I just did a work Instagram account audit for them. And so I suggested, I redid her bio, and I suggested she put that in her bio because they do weddings, portraits, and some other stuff. So like this way, say you're a bride and you come to their page, instead of having to go to their website or scroll their whole feed for just bridal, you can just click on Pier 7 Weddings and see all of their bridal posts. The other beauty of that is when your client, bride, whatever, or maybe like say the venue where the wedding was hosted, or the florist, or the caterer, or photographer. I mean, they're the photographer, but whatever, you know what I mean? Makeup artist, whomever. When they go to post it, you can say, hey, can you tag us with our Pier 7 Weddings hashtag? And that's what happened here. Is this bride not like the coolest chick ever? I'm like, that wedding dress is to die for. So this was this Every Last Detail blog, and they used the Pier 7 Weddings hashtag. The problem with this is, the only problem is, like for photographers, like I said, it's great, but bear in mind that the majority of your, if you are a photographer, the majority of your clients are going to be, you know, individuals with a private profile. And if a private profile hashtags Pier 7 Weddings, then only their followers would be able to see it. That's just a good little tip. That is everything. What questions do y'all have? Oh, no, I know there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. So I was looking at my notes. Okay, one of the worst things you can do with hashtags is think that you are smarter than Instagram. So you can't hop on a hashtag bandwagon, if that, like, so I'm sure like something about the Super Bowl or Super Bowl halftime show or whatever was, or like right now the coronavirus or whatever, is probably trending, right? But you can't just use hashtags that have nothing to do with your post. To an extent, I still use like local hashtags in all of my posts, even if they're not having to do with something specifically local. And when I discovered using local hashtags, y'all, I'm like so color coordinated right now. This is cracking me up. I didn't plan that. When I discovered using local hashtags, it dramatically increased my reach. So that's one of my best tips that I try to give people is, even if you aren't a local business per se, always use local hashtags, because local businesses here are just as good as any other business throughout the country. And it kind of establishes that like know, like, and trust factor, like knowing like, oh, she's local to my area. So using local hashtags is great. But like I said, don't try to just like throw in some random hashtags because you think that, I don't know, it's going to get you exposure. So like if you aren't at a specific conference or whatever, like, you know, Rachel Hollis is like Rise, let's use like Rise Dallas or something. Like if you post like some type of inspirational quote that's like maybe reminiscent or reminds you of Rachel Hollis, like you still shouldn't use the Rise Dallas hashtag unless you're actually there, if that makes sense. That is one other good tip too, that the only time you do want to use a really small hashtag in your stories is if you are at an event. So I went to the Entrepreneur Experience with Amy Porterfield in October, and her branded event hashtag was EE with AP. So that I did use that like smaller hashtag in my stories. So like that's the only exception to using a smaller hashtag in your stories, is anytime you're at like a special event or a concert or whatever, because that kind of gives that like cool little sense of community. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you. All right. So I could go on and on forever about hashtags, but if nobody has any more questions, do you have any questions about how hashtags relate in terms of like outwardly engaging? I can help you there if you need it. But if not, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So I hope that was super helpful. And if you need any more, oh, don't forget that we do have a hashtag vault available to the members of Molly's, of this group. It needs to grow. I just need you to go. So how it works is it's a Google Doc, and anybody in the group who has a link has permissions to edit. And so underneath there's like a requests part. So if you add in your requests, Jamie, Mara, and I will make sure we go through and get that doc updated. So you have some hashtags that you can just kind of copy and paste. So yeah, like I said, I hope this was helpful. If y'all didn't know, I did just roll out a new program. It's my one-on-one monetizing Instagram accelerator. Members of my Facebook group get 10% off. So it's literally like a 6-call, high touch, like unlimited Voxer and text support with homework and action items and all that. We'll track your progress and your